Hey, thank you. Thanks. Well done. So how old are you and where are you from?
I'm 22, I'm from Utah.
Utah?
Yes.
Okay, and you study there?
Yes.
Okay. In what framework?
I'm a first-year master's student.
Okay, great. At which school?
BYU.
Okay, great. Who is your teacher?
Stephen Buse.
Oh, yeah. Great. And how long have you been living with this piece?
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow, well done.
Yeah.
It's a difficult piece. no?
Very, yes.
In my experience. But, you know, it's kind of the first really big sonata,
yeah.
right? I mean, the first three are also substantial, but this one takes a step.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very impressed that you can do this in 3 weeks. The two main things that I feel, one thing has to do with the sound that I feel maybe possibly you're not so familiar with the instrument, but I feel like the sound can be more round and orchestral.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like the sound is a little bit here rather than everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's just one general thing. And then it might be slightly fast, the
Yes,
tempo.
yeah.
Could be. But even if it's not, I feel a little bit unstable with the rhythm and the tempo.
Okay.
I want to feel that the pulsation, even like in the opening, whatever your tempo, I want to be able to hear everything.
Yeah.
I feel that sometimes I hear everything, and then other times something escapes me a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a stage in the process that you have with the piece. I feel like it needs a little bit more earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
More
yeah.
stability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's start again. Better. Let's play the opening, just the left hand.
Yeah.
Good. It's difficult. What instrument might play this in the orchestra?
Well, I always think of either low woodwinds, or you could even think of cellos. Yeah.
Could even be timpani, who knows?
That's true, yeah.
It has a percussive.
It does, yes.
Whatever instrument plays it, I think every note is important.
Mm.
So, yeah, play once just these notes. That's good. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
Good. And now both of us, we won't say it, we'll just play those notes. Nice. And now let's do just that together with the right hand. One more time. It's harder than it seems. May I try it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it has to do with the interaction, you know? Boom. when you do it, I feel something like this. In the middle, it moves a little bit. I need a little more stability. By the way, are you very attached to this fingering?
In terms
I
of
wonder
that one,
if this would feel a little more stable.
just
Yeah, boom. Just so that it can feel boom. Uh-huh. I still feel like so when we play it this way, when we're not playing the eighth notes in the left hand, we have to fill in the blanks, whether it's saying it, singing it, or just thinking it. And we have to somehow be... It's getting better. So also the fact that this is a short note and this is a long note. You know, in piano playing, everything, as you know, is coordination. So, and. It's getting better. So like I was saying before, the way that we breathe has to be in the character and the tempo of the music. It's almost correct, but not 100%. That's better. Great. And now everything? It's getting there. It's getting much better. So in a certain way, the right hand has to listen to the left hand. So when the right hand is playing this, if I do it in slow motion, if the right hand is playing alone, it's imagining. But along the way, when you're playing these, don't forget to keep listening. Don't forget to keep listening all the time. Getting better. And it's especially towards the end. Usually the beginning I can feel that you're listening.
yeah.
But something about the ending and the connection to where the note moves. Great, much better. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's do it in tempo. It's getting better. So the first chord in the right hand is piano.
And then the second is forzando.
Yeah. Make sure you do not put an accent on the first one. Much better. It's already much better. I feel like you're listening better now. So this piece has a lot of, I call them noodles. It's kind of noodly material,
Yes.
right? What do we do with this? Or even this, when we have this is a Beethoven specialty, scales. Scales going up, scales going down. Scales going up, scales going down. How do we make it sound interesting? Not because interesting, not in the sense that we do something special to make it interesting, but that we do justice to the music itself. It's very simple.
I mean,
How do you think about it?
Personally, I mean, the first one is kind of like a sentence structure, and I think that
That already sounds better. That already sounds much better.
yeah. I think that whenever I was playing them earlier, it was a little bit too nuanced in terms of the way, because in terms of how I just played it, it doesn't, well, it's not different than how I'm thinking about it, but it is definitely different in terms of how it sounds.
Whatever you did now was better.
Okay.
Now, how about the left hand when you have
Yeah.
this? Play just the
Yeah.
left hand. Good. One more time. One more time. I feel that the second chord comes a little too soon. So I feel something like this.
Yeah.
So it's the same kind of idea that we were talking about here. You have to, if you imagine that different people are playing, whether it's chamber music or orchestra, and one player has to listen to what the other player is doing. And I feel like you're not quite listening closely enough, so you're moving to the next note too soon.
Gotcha.
And maybe it could be that it's because you want to make a phrasing, some kind of phrasing. But don't worry so much about doing something special. Just be with the music. Good, it's getting much better. Do the same thing, play with pedal if
Yeah.
you want. It's good. May I try?
Yep.
So it's interesting because I can feel your desire to really listen closely and be musical. But I think you can be a little bit more simple about it. I think for me, one of the things, especially with Beethoven, is that the material itself is often very, very basic. It's as if he's building these huge constructions out of very basic materials. It's like the bricks, you know, there's almost nothing to it. Or this, right? So I feel like there's a way that we can be with the music where we're not doing something fancy. We're just listening carefully and being very kind of honest about how we are with the music. So going back to the question of what to do. This is listening to this, and this is listening to this, and so everyone is listening to each other, and then things get better. And I think, is it okay if I?
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
So I think you're a little stiff here. I think it would be good for you to think a little bit about how these can move more freely. See, you're holding on here a bit, right? And the other thing is that we want this to be very connected, right? much do we have to move? How much do we not have to move? And I think it's especially when we play legato, we have to feel as if there's like a special energy which is going between the notes. But I think in music this is actually true even if we're playing staccato. There's something about how the energy of the music connects the notes.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do.
Because I think this is what piano playing is about, because the keys just go and we just hit them, even if we're hitting them musically. But the art is how they connect. How do we connect things? Good, much better. Good, that's a good direction. Let's do two hands. That was very good. Good, let's do from the beginning again. Ti-yum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Ti-yum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. You do something like this. You do ti-yum, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. It's almost like you add an extra something. I think I understand why, because of the dynamics. You want to be sure there's time. But to me, there's something slightly unnatural about it, because ti-yum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Ti-yum. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. And good. I think this is much better because to me it feels more honest.
Okay.
Not that I'm saying that you were dishonest before, but I feel like in Beethoven's music there has to be something very, very strong about where the notes go.
Yeah.
If they go slightly here or slightly there, it doesn't feel in line with oneself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try one more time. It's getting better. I thought this was especially good. How do you know where to put this note? It's a strange question, but how do you know where is exactly the right place? What do you say to yourself, or what are you thinking?
I'm thinking 1 and 2 and.
That's actually
Yeah.
good.
Okay, good.
But 1 and 2 and, let's say that's 4 points. Which do you think is the most important between those 4? Let's say those are 3, okay? There's this one, so the 1, the and the next
2,
one.
yeah.
Between those 3 points, which is the most important one?
Between just the 3?
Yeah, so there's 1, 2,
and
3.
2. 1 and 2. I guess you're always going to be right probably on the first one, so it would have to be 2 then. Or would it be and?
I feel it's the and.
And 2.
Yeah. Because it's kind of like throwing a ball, you know? It's like the motion or shooting an arrow. It's what happens before that determines what will happen next. 1 and 2.
Okay.
Almost.
And 2.
Uh-huh. Good. Good. about these sforzandi? What do you think about sforzandi in general?
Well, sforzandi, whenever they're in rows or in general, they usually pick up intensity. I think
Okay.
these ones, there's something fun about the articulation. The difference between the first one not being slurred and the second one being a little bit more slurred.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot like of a trumpet call in a lot of ways. Bum, ba, 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 bum, ba, ba, bum. It's also a place where it's like significant, so you can take a little bit of time. I mean, there's stuff about like agogic type things with sforzandi and accents.
Yeah. And how loud do you want it to be?
That's a good question.
Or what's the general dynamic?
In terms of the general dynamic should be after the forte piano, it should be around piano.
Yeah. Let's do that. Good, it's getting better. It's getting better. So I guess this movement has a lot of dogedi, dogedi,
Yes,
dogedi,
very
dogedi, different kinds, right?
Yes.
Sometimes sometimes how does the right hand sound here? It's pretty good. So again, the materials are very simple. I mean, harmonically, we just have this and this.
Yeah, 5, 7, 1.
Very simple, right? And then these are some kind of arpeggios, right? Going up, and then something like this, and then this. But, okay, he could have done, right? Or I always like to think, what are the many possibilities and why was this one chosen? And because this one was chosen, how do I need to do it? Going up, step, within the arpeggio, going up stepwise. You know? And then the same. Then there's a kind of something really logical about it in the way it's constructed. See what I mean, we could say the phrase goes from here to here.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's 2 measures and 2 measures and 4
4.
measures. Very typical structure.
Yes.
This is identical to this, with the exception of the different articulation you mentioned. And there's a kind of sequence. And then a cadence. So the question is always how do we do it? Okay, I'm not doing it in tempo, right?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly doing it in the character of the music, but I'm kind of playing with it to find out what is the music doing. Because only if I know what the music is doing can I do the music. By the way, here also, if you take too much time,
Yeah, it throws things off.
I understand why you're doing it, but I think you don't need very much. Just the right hand. Is it possible to play more legato? You know, you do something. That was different. Much different. Right. To make something round, we have to really be round. We can't. You sometimes kind of make the edges a little jagged. slower. And try to figure out where are the points. For example, maybe this is fine, but where are the places where it doesn't sing as well? Aha! You're listening differently. Aha! You're listening differently. You notice?
Yes.
And then the sound is different and the music is different. Do it again. Now at the same time, as you're playing, just notice. Notice what's happening here. Because I know that this is, when I touch it, it's not quite
Loose, yeah.
right. It's getting better. So we're opening up kind of big subjects, but sometimes a masterclass is good for this, that we open up some, as we call it, the proverbial can of worms. We're opening a can of worms.
Yeah.
But then you can go home and put the pieces back together again for yourself. I would say there's two parts. One is, how am I listening? How well am I listening? And when I listen and I notice that something isn't the way I want it to be yet, what do I need to do physically? So it's like this biofeedback loop, you see, where we have to be kind of like two people. One person is just listening, all the time listening, and the other person is reacting to what you hear. How does it sound? And how does it feel? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? So sometimes I like just, let's say, to play a note and kind of move around. Or play a chord. But in this case, let's say just to play a note. What if I play the first note and I just notice all the points and let them move a little bit? Everything is somehow circles. Try that once. Just play the note and just play around with it a little bit. Just experiment a little. And the movement can be, that's great. The movement can be very small, it could be a little bigger, it could be very subtle. Good. We're making a nice sound. So it's like a little game that we can play every day. Good. And keep going and see if you can make the movements now much smaller. It's excellent. How about if I make the movement really, really tiny? I'm barely moving. They wouldn't be able to see that I'm moving. But you can see that I'm moving, but also barely. Right?
Yeah.
Try. Even less. And maybe hold on to a note. Also, maybe sometimes it's good just to kind of drop it. Just let everything drop. Let gravity. Can you let go even more? It's hard, I know. Sometimes the most simple things are the hardest to do. This is also a kind of practice. You're doing great. Let's say when I play this, these four notes, they go together. But they're also one thing. They shooting an arrow, it's a good image because, or have you ever, when you've been near water at a lake or the sea and you throw a rock and it skips? A little bit like that, you know, you throw it and then there's some impulse. The impulse can be, or it can be this. Also, sometimes I like to make little games. I'm just playing one note, then I'm playing 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes. Or the other way, that I finish here, and then I go backwards. Okay, it's not profound, it's not rocket science. I'm not saying anything revolutionary, but it's kind of like little games to help the music become better. Just to find different kinds of games. Play a little bit. I was getting very much with a microscope here, so I wanted to let you play a little bit. First of all, I think the tempo is better. It's a little bit slower than before.
Yes, but it's more stable.
It's more stable. And again, this idea that Beethoven has something very strong, tremendous strength. I think this is where the power of the music comes from. And that comes from a kind of integrity of the rhythm and how the jigsaw puzzle fits together. Let's do one more time from here.
Yeah.
This is similar to what I felt here, and there was one other place here. I feel like sometimes from musicality, from a good intention, you add an extra ingredient to the meal, which is not necessary.
Okay.
And what I mean is this: you do ti-ra-ra-ra. It's the extra eyebrow.
Yeah.
We don't need it. Trust the music. And the other part of it is how to play this note. You're right that this one is shorter than the others.
But maybe not so short.
Yeah, it feels a little boop. It's still singing. does the big sound come from? In your own body or beyond your body? How do we make it big? Not because you're a young guy, you're a slim guy. So where does the power come from? It has to be something beyond us.
Yeah.
Right? But something from the earth. You have to imagine yourself bigger. Good. It's very good. What I would suggest as a kind of general thing when you're working on this piece, and I know it's still early days for you with this music, I know now we're kind of in a masterclass setting, so, you performed. And always when we perform, there's always like a little leap that we take and present it, which is good. But in your process, don't go faster than you can think and hear and do. So, for example, something like this. Okay, if I'm in a concert or a masterclass and I want to play it in tempo, so. But how do I? How do I actually play in such a way that I can understand what is happening? That there's two harmonies. One starts piano. This goes here. Every note is important. So on the left hand, what we talked about at the beginning, that the hands are listening to each other. This one is playing. For example, is it these three notes together? Is it these 6 notes together? Is it, how do I group it? How do I phrase it? And then when the chromatic scale starts, how does that feel? Is it that this one has 7 notes? I don't know. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Give yourself the time in the process to really figure it out. Don't leap ahead too many steps. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. We have some cans of worms available.
Yeah.
We'll put the puzzle back together. Okay?
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.